So today I do want to talk about Joshua Kimmich. Kimmich earlier today did state this: who is my idol? Xavi Hernandez from FC Barcelona. And the moment Kimmich said this, I'm like, okay, there's clearly something going on here. Like, I know that many will say, like, Kevin, you're reading too much into this. He's just putting out who was his idol and nothing more. But I just think that with the amount of conversations and the amount of things that has been said from Kimmich and Xavi himself, it does lead towards one conclusion. I think that Xavi and Kimmich eventually want to work with one another and at FC Barcelona, which is why I do want to make this video, is what could be the possible reasons on why we could see Kimmich join Barcelona in the summer of 2024. And so look, there is a debate going on in Bayern. Kimmich himself has said multiple times that he does want to play as a number 6, which is a true central defensive midfielder. Kimmich about 2 weeks ago did state this: you know my opinion, everything has been said about it. I think I can do both though, the defensive and the more offensive part. I'm flexible when it comes to that. I'll play the way that we do need. And this is what Kimmich said to build. But notice how he did start this sentence. He said, you know my opinion, everything has been said about it, meaning that Kimmich has always wanted to play as a number 6 consistently. But of course, if the coach is going to be asking Kimmich to play as an 8 and to play a more offensive role, then Kimmich will do that. But Kimmich in the end would want to play in the number 6 role in every match and in every minute that he does play in. And so the fact that Tuchel continues to use Kimmich as a number 8, right, someone that does play much more offensive within the double pivot position, it is a problem to Kimmich. Now, I have seen Kimmich play with Bayern over the past year and a half, ever since we started seeing the link-ups between Kimmich and Xavi and Kimmich and Barcelona and Kimmich, because I really wanted to assess just how this player would fit at Barcelona and what he does currently at Bayern Munich. And over the past 12 months, Kimmich has been placed in the double pivot position with another player named Goretzka. I don't know if I'm saying that incorrectly or correctly. I'm sorry that I'm saying it wrong, but he does play with that one other player in the double pivot position at Bayern Munich. And Kimmich is always the one that does go up high and give out key passes, assists, and goals, which is why we see Kimmich with a lot of assists and goals, right? He's really good at what he does and what he is asked to do. But throughout that time, throughout the past 12 months, all Kimmich wanted to say and wanted to do is to continue to play as a true number 6, to play in deeper areas. That is where he thinks that he belongs. So there is tensions between the coach and Kimmich. So I think that he does want something very similar to Xabi Alonso at his time at either Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, to play in a very deep area within the midfield, organized play as the holding midfielder. And so lastly, right, just to give you guys more context on how Kimmich has been over the past few years, he has represented Bayern Munich for more than 350 times. He has provided a total of 40 goals and 96 assists. And because of his world-class status and what he does on the pitch, this is the reason why he has been linked to Barcelona and also Real Madrid. So this is a player that is clearly world-class, one of the best midfielders in the world. And of course, Xavi Hernandez himself wants the player to Barcelona. So with this given context, knowing that he is a great player, knowing that there is also tensions between the player and the club, what does that say for Barcelona? I think that Barcelona can give Kimmich the chance to make him play as the number 6, where Kimmich can find himself much more happy in the football that he does play. Because I think that ever since Flick left Bayern Munich back in 2021 or 2022 and Nagelsmann came in, Kimmich has not really been enjoying his football. Like, he doesn't enjoy his football at either Bayern or at Germany. At Germany, under Flick, recently he was being placed as like a right back, and Kimmich does not want to play in that position. And at Bayern, we all know the story, right? What we have been talking about. He has been playing as a very offensive central defensive midfielder, and he doesn't want to do that. I do think that if Barcelona can give him the opportunity to find his happiness again and say, hey, look, we want to bring you in, we'll give you the role that you do desire, Kimmich will go to Barcelona. And that is why I do say that there is a chance that Kimmich could make the transfer to the club in the summer of 2024. Now, like I have said, there are clear tensions, and especially within the fan base of Bayern, there are many debates about how they should not renew Kimmich for another 2 or 3 years, or they should renew Kimmich for another 4 to 5 years, right? A lot of debates. A lot of people are saying, no, screw Kimmich, let him go. He's not happy at Bayern. He continues to talk about how he wants to play in a different role, and he's not happy. Just let him go. But there is also another fan base that is stating that Kimmich should stay. They cannot lose on such a precious midfielder. And so again, a lot of debates, a lot of tensions. I just think that Barcelona is the perfect suitor for Kimmich's situation at the moment. And so if things don't turn around within these next 9 months under Thomas Tuchel at Bayern, I can see Kimmich asking for a move and telling Bayern, I want to move, I don't want to renew. I know that my contract ends in 2025, but I don't want to renew for another 2 or 3 years. I want to go somewhere else. And you know, like, I'm already projecting what our midfield could look like by next summer, right? By the next season. And I know that it's so early. I know that we have just finished our current transfer window about 3 weeks ago, but the amount of opportunities that we have for the next summer summer is going to be humongous. I don't like this squad right now that we have. It's not Xavi's clear idea. Like, yes, are we getting closer to the squad that we want? Of course. But are we there 100%? I don't think so. Xavi wanted Kimmich in this summer. Like, he wanted Kimmich in this summer, and he also wanted Messi. Xavi couldn't do that. So we got Oriol Romeo, and we got other players like Joao Felix, who can be very creative up front. But next season, I think that our midfield could look something like this, with Kimmich and Frenkie in the double pivot positions, and then having Pedri and Gavi as our high interiors. A 4-man midfield. Now, two things to take note, right? If we place Kimmich and Frenkie in the double pivot positions, I think that the player that will be allowed to go up forward with the ball would be Frenkie de Jong, right? Frenkie de Jong is a great ball progressor. He knows how to dribble. He's very press resistant, and Kimmich will be the one to stay back and, like we have said, act as a number 6, being the deep playmaker. We know that Frenkie can also do that. We have seen him multiple times as a deep playmaker, and when he has the ball, he's very press resistant. He never loses the ball. So we can also find that balance between Frenkie and Kimmich, right? Kimmich can go up top sometimes and Frenkie stays down, and then we see another sequence where Frenkie goes up and Kimmich stays down. It's a much better situation compared to the one that he has with Bayern at the moment, right? Where he is always asked to play as a number 8 no matter what. So this 4-man midfield would be something just, it would be extraordinary. I can't even like speak about just how well this midfield could be for Xavi Hernandez's Barcelona. It would be just something spectacular. And then I would also have Pedri as a false left winger. I think that Xavi right now, today, like this season, he should have Pedri as the false left winger, not Gavi. I think that Gavi should be the right central midfielder with Pedri as a left central midfielder. I have talked about before how Pedri would be a great left winger if he is demanded to do so on a certain play. He's a great left winger. We have seen that against Juventus and multiple times about a year and a half ago. So I don't understand why Xavi sees it as a problem to have Pedri on the left wing and then inverting himself into the middle. He can do both. He can be an out wide player and play very centrally. And this 4-man setup of Kimmich, Frenkie, Gavi, and Pedri, again, like, how do you improve on top of a midfield like this? You can't ask for a better midfield. You just can't. Xavi would have the best midfield in the world. It'll be very similar to the difficulty of Pep Guardiola and Man City right now. How does Pep Guardiola improve with a midfield of Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan, and Rodri, right? Well, what he had last year. How do you improve on top of that? It's almost impossible. I think that the midfield that he has currently is a step below to the midfield that he had last season. So Pep Guardiola is going to have to figure something out with his midfield and how he can top what he did in the previous season. What Xavi could do with Barcelona in the next season with this 4-man midfield, you cannot beat that. You can't sign another player and say, okay, if we add this player into the midfield and we take this player out, our midfield will be even better. We would not be able to do that. Kimmich, Frenkie, Pedri, and Gavi would be a dominant force in top European football. And so I would also have Alejandro Balde as the left back, Araujo, Koundé, and Cancelo in our back line with our midfield. Like I've said, Kimmich, Frenkie, Gavi, and Pedri. And then up top, we would have Vitor Roque and Lamine Yamal, with Alejandro Balde, of course, being that left winger and combining with Pedri on the left side. It's a good mix of experience, which comes from our back line with the goalkeeper, a good mix of more experience and youth in the midfield with Pedri, Gavi, Frenkie, and Kimmich. And then we have a lot of youth up top, which is Lamine Yamal and Vitor Roque. Now, there is also going to be some debates, right? Which I understand. Many would say, but Kevin, don't you think that we have too many midfielders? Like, come on, this whole obsession about Xavi signing more midfielders and you saying that we need another midfielder, don't you think that is too much? And I understand why you might make this debate. I completely understand this side, but I would say this: Oriol Romeo is going to be treated exactly like how Kessie was treated last year. I do think that it will go in the exact same way. I'm not saying that Oriol Romeo is a horrible player, that he's bad, that he needs to leave, he's not up to the level of Barcelona. I'm not saying that. Oriol Romeo is a phenomenal player. I'm always going to be appreciative of what he's going to be doing and doing currently at Barcelona because he allows Frenkie to go up top and go on to attack. But I do think that Xavi Hernandez is going to want to see that upgrade and let go of Oriol Romeo because we brought him in at a very low cost and we can sell him for X or Y amount, right? For a good profit. As for Gundogan will still be with us for a second season and he'll be 32, 33 years old. Just look at how Gundogan currently had to get out from the Germany match and we're only 2 or 3 weeks into the season. Gundogan might experience more injuries as the season does go by. Why? That is because Gundogan is being overused and he's going to continue to be overused through the season because Barcelona cannot really replace Gundogan because he's just too good. And so because he is a lot older than a lot of the players that we have at Barcelona, he is going to be needing some rest. And so next season, Kimmich will be the perfect substitution to Gundogan. If you take Gundogan out, an experienced veteran player, just add Kimmich. If Kimmich is playing and he plays like 10 to 15 matches in a row, just add in Gundogan. It's always good to have world-class bench players. And also keep in mind, if we have Kimmich and Gundogan in our squad, we also have another German player, an academy player named Noah Darvic. Noah Darvic has been seen as one of the top gems in La Masia as of now. We just brought him in about 2 or 3 weeks ago. If Noah Darvic can get consulted by Kimmich and Gundogan, give him the experiences, right? The teachings on how to handle going into the first team, it would be so good for Noah Darvic, so he can have that good transition in the future. So Kimmich at 29 years old and also having 1 year left on his contract by that time in the summer, he's currently being priced at 75 million euros. I think that we're going to have to negotiate around 45 to 50 million euros. Very similar to the operation of Lewandowski. It's not going to be easy. Bayern Munich never make it easy for any club, and especially with Barcelona, to sign one of their players. Look at what happened with Lewandowski. It took us so long to sign Lewandowski, and Bayern Munich were like, you're missing 2 or 3 million euros more. We are asking for 45 million euros, but you're giving us 42, 43 million euros. We want more than that. So they get very strict on their negotiations, and so it's not going to be easy, but it will be worth it to sign Kimmich and have him paired with Frenkie de Jong. The only thing that will be able to help us by that summer is, and I know that I might sound like a horrible person saying this, but to continue to have the tensions between Bayern and Kimmich. If Bayern know that Kimmich is not so settled at the club and there's tensions going on between Tuchel and Kimmich, and you know, like those disagreements that we have been hearing, then Bayern might make it just a little bit easier for us to sign the player. So that is it. That is all I do have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.